community. So I want to start by introducing two people that are near and dear to my heart. They've turned personal tragedy and hardship into purpose. They're passionate, and effective safety advocates. Please join me in welcoming Trini Willerton and Dan Langenkamp.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Dan Langenkamp, and this is Trini Willerton. We both have, it could be me, hats on. I hope you see them, and I hope you come and get one. So 2 years ago, my wife, Sarah Langenkamp, was riding her bike home from our son's elementary school when a truck, rushing through rush hour, turned and hit her and rolled over her, crushing her. And she died on the road that day without any family, as a random person on the road. In the aftermath of her death, I tried to make sense of what happened. And I came to realize by talking to advocates and others that it wasn't a freak accident. What happened to her was part of a crisis of road death on American streets. Right after that, I organized something that we called the Ride for Your Life. And if you see your shirts at the bottom, it says Ride for Your Life. It's a movement that we started involving a rally and a bike ride, both to honor the person that was killed, but also to press for change. Because what happened to Sarah and what happened to Magnus is not okay. It's not okay that innocent people are getting mowed down. In fact, some people that will speak after me will talk about some of the statistics. Long and the short of it is that we are at historic highs of road death in America. And I'm just so grateful that you are here today to express your support for this movement. And I'm so grateful to the Whites for opening their minds and their hearts to this idea. Jill and Michael, thank you so much. I know from my experience, it's not easy to take your grief and to try to honor your loved one publicly, and then to press for change. And you all have done that. Your efforts actually have made this ride much larger than my own ride. I thought I had done a lot by bringing 2,000 people together. We have 4,000 here today. It's amazing. It's a testament to your fortitude and to your courage that we're all here. So I also just want to thank you. But I don't want to do that. I don't want Trini to do that. Needs to say, just thank you. And it's great to meet you all, and thank you for being a part of this movement.
Hi, everybody. My name is Trini Willerton, and I got shoved into this space. I'm a crash survivor. I never in a million years would have imagined that I would be standing here right now. And I just want to thank everybody that made this day possible. Without literally dozens and dozens of volunteers, this would not have been a thing, right? I mean, we all worked so hard for months. I'd like to thank a couple of people just off the top of my head, and forgive me if I don't name you, but you know how hard you worked. So Steve Kurland, Jenny Anderson, Sage, Gary, just everybody, Dan from afar. We've been traveling, we've been doing a lot of stuff, and here we are. But most importantly, I would love to thank the Whites for their courage and for the opportunity to turn this horrible thing that happened to them into change. So thank you.
Our next speaker is a true icon in the bike industry. He started working in the bike industry in 1984 when he took a job at his dad's small bike manufacturing company, which was started a few years earlier in a barn in Waterloo, Wisconsin. 1997, he became president, still president today. Things took off from there. He's a founding member of the People for Bikes, and has been just a true bike advocate for decades. Please join me in welcoming the president of Trek Bikes, John Burke.
Thank you so much for having me. I did start 40 years ago, and my first job was in Boulder, so it's good to be back. What an amazing ride this was this morning. I want to also thank the Whites for having Trek involved. I want to thank you for the invitation. What a memory. And thanks for helping me show up and hopefully make a difference. There's so many people here today in one of the great spots for cycling around the world. And all of us love the activity. It provides exercise, it provides mental health, fun, friendship, and it's an amazing way to go out and see the world. It's also a really simple solution. You know, as a society, we have a lot of problems today. I don't know if you've noticed. But take a look at the bicycle. And there's congestion, we have health issues, and climate change sits out there. And the bicycle is a partial solution. It's a simple solution to so many different things. But the bicycle can only be that simple solution if it's safe. And as a society, we need to do better to create safe cycling and safe areas for pedestrians. And as a cycling community, we can do more. Too often around this country, people sit back and they wait for other people to solve the problems. And I've always been fond of this quote from Margaret Mead so many years ago, that a small group of people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And we're lucky here today because we don't have a small group. It's not even a medium-sized group. But when you take a look at the 4,000 people who showed up here today, it's a large group. So if you want to help change the world, and if you want to honor Magnus, and if you want to prevent the next tragedy, I have a thought and I have two pieces of advice. The first thought is about our democracy. And I've seen this by being involved in advocacy for over 30 years. This is a democracy. It's of the people, by the people, and for the people who show up. That's how things get done. And so my two pieces of advice is, number one, show up. What you've done here today is you've shown up. That sea of 4,000 people here today, it sent a message. In the last transportation bill that was passed last year, there's over $10 billion available for cycling infrastructure. We've never seen that kind of an opportunity in this country. That dream can become a reality if people like you show up at meetings in the years to come. You have no idea what showing up means. Get in touch with your local organization, follow the politics of bike safety, and just show up. The second piece of advice is write a note. Somebody once told me that a short note goes a long way. We live in an era of tweets and texts, and a short handwritten note means more than at any other time. Find out who your local representative is, your state representative, and your federal representative. Send them a short note. Tell them that you care about cycling. 10 years from now, people are going to look back at this event. This is a historic event, and they're going to come to two conclusions. A, that was an amazing ride. There were 4,000 people who came out here. They came out here to honor an amazing kid who tragically lost his life. Or B, there were 4,000 people who came out here. They came out here to honor Magnus. And because of that, there's so many people who got involved, and we created more and safer places for people to cycle. And because of that, we changed the world. And so I would suggest to you, let's go with B.
Thanks, John. It's now my pleasure to introduce the 43rd governor of Colorado, Jared Polis. The last time I had the privilege of sharing the stage with the governor, we were announcing the launch of this country's first statewide e-bike subsidy, I should say rebate. According to Bicycle Colorado's legislative scorecard, and we do keep score, since Governor Polis took office in 2019, he has signed into law 26 laws that aim to expand access to safe biking and walking. Please join me in welcoming Governor Polis to the stage.
Thank you, everybody. I feel a bit overdressed, and I know that that betrays the fact that I did not join you on the 13-mile bike ride. I apologize. But I'm excited over 4,000 strong did. And thank you for being here to honor Magnus's legacy, and of course commit ourselves to doing more to better protect everyone who uses our roads. Michael and Jill, of course, the White Lion Foundation, and of course no one should ever have to go through what you've been through. And again, it speaks to your character and your strength that you are on an ongoing basis turning that tragedy into real positive change so that others don't have to go through what you went through. Thank you to the City and County of Boulder for supporting the Ride Our Streets. CU Boulder, thanks for hosting. And many organizations, it could be me, Bicycle Colorado, Ride for Your Life, USA Cycling, and Trek Bikes. You know, Magnus was taken from us far too soon. Riding his bike was his happy place, and it's fitting that we honor Magnus by celebrating what he celebrated, biking the roads in and around Boulder that he knew so well. And we know that we need to do more to ensure that our roads are safe for everybody who uses them, and that means drivers, cyclists, pedestrians. And we are making key safety improvements and prioritizing safety on our roads. To, of course, Colorado Highway 119, where Magnus was struck and killed, building a protected bike and pedestrian trail, installing rumble strips to keep vehicles on the road. With a partnership with CDOT and Boulder County and RTD and the biking community, we're doing everything we can to make 119 safer, as well as roads across Colorado. Just this last year, I signed a new law that prohibits drivers from using a cell phone while driving. And at the same time, you know, a lot of the infrastructure is local, not state, around safety, but we're providing support for local communities to improve safety. And examples of that are financial support for a new bikeway in Broomfield, a safer walking and bike path for children going to and from school between Westcliff and Silvercliff, new sidewalks and ADA ramps through Kersey near Greeley, and many of these investments across the state that the state is a partner with these locally driven projects that improve safety, particularly in the higher trafficked areas in and around downtowns. It takes all of us working together to save lives and protect vulnerable road users, and I want to thank the Colorado Department of Transportation for helping to bring together a strong coalition of local stakeholders with Advancing Transportation Safety Initiative, especially to improve bike and pedestrian safety. So more to come. You're going to see a lot of important investments and improvements, and you are a big part of that change. Continue to make sure that your voice is heard as we work closely with our local, state, and national partners to improve safety for cycling, improve transportation infrastructure to serve people on our roadways. And of course, as we continue to keep people safe, we want to do so by proudly honoring Magnus's legacy, so that fewer families and fewer communities have to ever suffer the unthinkable tragedy that the White family has endured, that the entire community has endured, that has brought us together here in the spirit of unity and change. Thank you.
All right, we're in the home stretch. I'm excited for you to hear the next two speakers, our last two speakers. So Congressman Joe Neguse, of the 435 representatives doing our work at the U.S. Capitol, I'm not sure there's anyone that works harder than this guy. Yeah. I think in his second term, you sponsored, 100 bills, 103 bills, which is the most or the second most of all the representatives. And 22 of those bills passed. And he cares about this cause. Representative Neguse sponsored the Biking and Long Distance Trails Act, a bipartisan bill to expand outdoor recreation opportunities by identifying potential long-distance bike trails. Just this past December, Representative Neguse announced $23 million bipartisan infrastructure law funding for the city of Boulder to address intersection and corridor safety issues for pedestrians and bicyclists. And similarly, he announced nearly $1 million for the city of Fort Collins. I'm not sure the congressman will introduce himself by saying I'm a bike advocate and a safety advocate, but I've been doing this work for quite a while, and by my standard, he's a bike advocate and a safety advocate. So please join me in welcoming Congressman Joe Neguse.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege to be able to join you today, to be back on the CU Boulder campus, my alma mater, for the Ride for Magnus, Ride for Your Life Memorial Bike Ride. I want to thank the Chancellor of the University of Colorado Boulder. He's a new Chancellor here on our campus, Dr. Justin Schwartz, and his wife for welcoming us onto the campus for this important occasion. It is impossible to follow Jill and Michael White. One of the hardest things in this life is to convert one's anger and anguish into action. And that is exactly what Jill and Michael have done since Magnus's death, and we owe them a debt of gratitude and a round of applause. They spoke so lovingly of Magnus, and one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Maya Angelou is this, that in this life, people will often forget what you said. They may forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And as you hear Jill and Michael talk about Magnus, as you read the many reflections of Magnus's friends and all whom he touched, it is clear that there is no more fitting adage than from Magnus for that quote from Maya Angelou, because he made everyone feel like they mattered. And those of us who were not fortunate enough to have met Magnus in life can attest to that today, how he makes us feel right now. Proud, grateful for all that he accomplished in his short 17 years, and determined to do something positive to honor his memory and to save lives for years to come. So to Jill and Michael, we say to you that you continue to be in our thoughts and our prayers, and that we intend to honor Magnus's memory so that our roads are safer for everyone. It is in his honor and in memory of the 716 Coloradans who lost their lives in traffic crashes, including 133 pedestrians and 20 bicyclists in this last year alone, that we must recommit ourselves to pushing for better laws and improved infrastructure to vulnerable road users. And although, as you'll hear from Shailen Bhatt, the head of the Federal Highways Administration in our country, we are grateful for the investments that will be made on Highway 119. We know there is still far much more that must be done. So to Michael and to Jill, I will just simply say that we hear you and that I hear you, and that we look forward to introducing legislation to make automatic braking technology for bicyclists and motorcyclists a reality in the United States Congress. And you have my commitment that we will do that. We're grateful for your partnership in getting it done. We will need your help, all of you who are gathered today and those who are watching remotely. The work continues, the work goes on. Thank you so much for all that you're doing and all that I know you'll continue to do, and please stay safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Congressman. To close this out, I'm excited to introduce Shailen Bhatt, the Administrator of the Federal Highway Administration. For those of you who don't know government speak, Administrator is, he's responsible for the Federal Highway Administration. Administrator Bhatt has a distinguished career in the transportation sector that spans over 2 decades, both in the private and public sector, including leading the Delaware and Colorado Departments of Transportation. I've had the privilege of speaking with Administrator Bhatt many times. I could feel his passion for improving safety and protecting all road users on America's roads and highways, including, if not especially, for people biking and walking. Please join me in welcoming Administrator Bhatt.
Good afternoon. It is an honor and a privilege to be here. I have to say it is really heartrending to hear the grief of parents to come forward, and I can't imagine. Actually, Jill did introduce me as a politician. I'm not a politician. No, that's okay. It's not a bad word, but well, maybe it is a little bit for some people. Not for me. But I am a transportation person. I am a proud bike and vulnerable road user advocate. Throughout my career, I have fought hard so that we don't have a system where innocent people die on our roadways. And I usually try not to travel on weekends because I come here today as a parent. I have daughters who are 8 and 10. My youngest daughter was born in Denver when I was the Colorado DOT director. And I know the feeling in my heart when we go out and cycle and the fear that rises up in me. In fact, I was telling Jill about that when we were biking around out there, about that fear when we get out of our neighborhood and we're on the road. Does that approaching car, do they see us? Do they know how precious that cargo is on that little tiny bike? And way too often, they don't. And so, I am so grateful to the Whites for their ability to channel the grief and the rage and all of the passion into making change. I am naturally an optimistic person. I think that we can make great change from this. At the federal level, we have a president who cycles. We have a Secretary of Transportation who cycles, and a federal highway administrator who barely was able to complete the ride today. Apparently my lungs did not come with me when I left Colorado. I'll just leave it at that. But we have alignment, and when you have CDOT, and I know the many professionals at CDOT that are here who care passionately about this, we can make change. And I will close this. Look, there are billions of dollars that are available. There are so many things that we can do differently and will do differently. And looking at the crowd today, looking at the crowd that was riding today, you know, the translation of Magnus means greatest. And I think that the greatest impact of his too short life is going to be on all the lives that we save by working together. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for your passion. Thank you to the Whites for all of your work, and let's go out and save some lives. Thank you very much.
One more round of applause, please, for all of our speakers. All right. This is the moment. You all have an opportunity to take action. If you've never written a letter to an elected official, to a government official, it's not hard. We made it really easy for you. So as Michael said, at each of the exits, you're going to see a poster with a QR code. We have a couple people holding posters with QR codes, if you just turn around. And then I believe in every tent, there's a handout on the table with the QR code. Scan that QR code. You'll be brought to a website where very easily, point and click, you can contact the U.S. Department of Transportation, your elected representative in Colorado, and you can sign a petition to show your support for the North Foothills Bikeway. So this is it. It's on you. All right. They got it. As Jill said, you got this. So to wrap up, on behalf of the White family, thank you for showing up, and thank you for speaking up. We're all grateful. Have a good afternoon.